What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Sports Degenerate podcast. We had another great game last night. Another great game. That's all we can ask for as NFL fans is good, entertaining games like that. Great offensive play, great defensive play. Honestly, great play by both sides of the ball. Entertaining game. Came down to the wire. We can't ask for much more. Love the game. Right off the top, before we get into the whole fantasy review and betting review of last night's game, while I'm recording this right now, currently, I don't have any update on Jordan Love's injury. I don't know the severity. So once this comes out, you might watch this after the report comes out. I don't have any updates while I'm recording this. For you guys that don't know, literally like the second to last play of the game, Jordan Love went down with an injury and hobbled off the field. He was trying to make something out of nothing because the Packers needed to score. He was scrambling around a little bit and kind of looked like he got grabbed up a little bit awkwardly. So like I said, I don't know the severity. I really hope it's not a super severe injury. Not only do I have the Packers on a bet to win the Super Bowl, like that was my pick for the AFC, but I have a ton of those weapons in fantasy. I have Watson, I have Reed, and I have Jacobs in tons of leagues. So I hope it's not severe, and just for Jordan Love's sake, I don't like to see players get hurt. So hopefully it's not severe. But like I said, I don't have any update on that. But let's get into the recap of last night's game. Before we get into the actual player recap, let's talk about this grass. That might have been the reason why Jordan Love got hurt. The players were slipping all over this grass on the field, man. It was a soccer field. These players aren't used to playing on a soccer field. It's a completely different grass than they're used to playing on. Jacobs was slipping all over the place. Barkley was slipping all over the place. Like, it was bad at the beginning of the game. These players took a long time to adjust. I don't like these overseas games. I get why the NFL does them. They want to expand their brand, but this isn't the first time we've seen players slip on these soccer fields and get hurt. Like, I don't like it. But let's get into the recap of the players. Let's start with the studs, man. Let's start with the studs. Saquon Barkley looked amazing. Dude is an absolute beast. I never understood why people were worried about Barkley going to the Eagles. Everyone was worried that Jalen Hurts never had a number one running back in fantasy. The Eagles never have a good running back. Yeah, the Eagles never had Saquon Barkley. He might be the best running back in the league when healthy. Dude is an absolute beast. He ended with over 100 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. Also a couple catches and a touchdown catch, which was a great throw and great catch by Barkley and Hurts. Great over-the-shoulder catch and throw. But not only that, he looked the part. Super explosive, great cuts, great contact balance, running over people. Dude is an absolute stud. Next, we got A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown did A.J. Brown things. He didn't get a ton of volume. He only got 5 catches, but he ended up with over 100 yards and a touchdown. That's what he does. He makes explosive plays. He doesn't get a ton of volume a lot of the time, but it doesn't matter. He doesn't need it. To be fair to Jair Alexander, he did a very good job on A.J. Brown for most of the game. As you can see, A.J. Brown only caught 5 balls, so Jair did a very good job. But Jair got absolutely toasted on that long touchdown. Great play. That's why you draft A.J. Brown so high, because of plays like that. Next, we'll go into Jalen Hurts himself. He really did not look good, man. He really did not look good at all. He had multiple interceptions, multiple fumbles. Not only were his interceptions like, oh, he threw a pick, they were bad throws, forced throws, bad reads, like really bad. He really did not look good for most of the game. But I will give him credit. At the end of the game, plays had to be made, throws had to be made, and he made the plays. I can't knock him for it. He made the plays. And honestly, people that had Hurts missed out on a touchdown. At the very end of the game, the Eagles were on the 1-yard line. They were going for the tush push, and it got fumbled away. So he could have got you another 6 points with that touchdown. And honestly, fantasy-wise, he ended up with 20 points. He runs around. He makes plays. You're starting him every week. But he didn't look great. I will say that. He didn't look great. The Packers were bringing pressure on him, and he didn't look good under pressure. We've seen that year in and year out. He doesn't do good under pressure. But he came through at the end of the day. We can't knock him for it. And then the last stud, we got Josh Jacobs. So he started off very, very slow. He was slipping all over the place. I think the grass affected him more than Barkley. He did not look good in the first half, but he picked up. He had some super explosive runs in the second half. I think he had like a 34-yard run in the fourth quarter, something like that. Great run. He ended up with what did he have? He ended up with, 100 total yards. He ended up with 100 total yards. I think like 80 rushing yards, 20 receiving yards. Gave you like 11 points PPR without a touchdown. Was it a great game? No, but you'll take it without a touchdown, 11 points. But he looked the part. He looked very, very good. I have him in tons of leagues, so I was mad at the beginning of the game. But he came through with a decent game. So those were all the stud players. Obviously, all of these guys you're starting every single week. Let's get into the guys that maybe you don't have to start and how they performed last night. So let's start with Jordan Love himself. He also had some mistakes. Like, he had the one pick, but he could have thrown multiple picks, just like Jalen Hurts. He had some throws into triple coverage, double coverage that were not good throws. But he also made a lot of good plays. A lot of scramble drill, on the run, Mahomes type of plays. That touchdown to Jaden Reed, where Jaden Reed ran like 40 yards or whatever, great play by Love to find Jaden Reed on the scramble. He made some good throws. He definitely made some good throws, but I wouldn't say he had a great game. He had an okay game. He made some mistakes as well. First game of the season, though. I really hope he isn't hurt. I really think like we are seeing a elite quarterback in the making with Jordan Love. He's very young. Man, I really hope he only misses a few games. Like, man, it sucks for him. If he ends up playing and is healthy, let's say he comes back, you're going to start him every week, but who knows, man. Next, we got Devontae Smith. So, it's only been one game, obviously, but he looked like the short area target for Hurts. When Hurts wants to find that short area target, it looks like it's going to be Devontae Smith. He had way more volume than A.J. Brown. So, is it going to continue? Who knows? But just from last night, he looked like he's going to be the volume guy. So, he ended up with like 15 PPR points. Like I said before the game, he is going to give you a solid floor every single week. I just don't think he's going to give you those explosive plays like A.J. Brown does. A.J. Brown is just a different type of player. But you're starting him every single week. He got a ton of volume. And if that continues, like, that's great. That's great. With a touchdown, he's probably giving you 20 points. Without a touchdown, it's around 13, 14, 15 points every week. Next, we got Jaden Reed. So I was completely wrong on these receivers. I basically flip-flopped these before the game. I said Christian Watson was the number 1. Jaden Reed was the number 2. Jaden Reed also looked like the volume guy. Not only did he get all the gadget plays, the handoffs and stuff like that, we expected that. We expected Reed to be the gadget player. But he got a lot of volume. He was similar to Devontae Smith with Jalen Hurts. Jordan Love was looking for him on scramble drills. He was looking for him over the middle of the field. It looked like Reed was Love's preferred target. Just from that one game, he ended up with over 100 yards, 100 total yards, multiple touchdowns. You start him every week as a number 2, number 3 every single week until he proves us otherwise. And then Christian Watson, man. So I was wrong on him. He saved your day with the touchdown. So he didn't kill you. He got you around 10 points with that touchdown. But he did not get a ton of volume. Like, inside the 20s, when the Packers were driving, he basically got nothing. But one plus for him, one thing in his favor, he led the team in end zone targets. He had like 4 or 5 end zone targets in that game. Love is looking for him in the red zone. So that is a plus. It looks like the Packers like to give him the ball, so he might be a touchdown guy. But just from one game, he did not get really any targets when the Packers were driving. Romeo Doubs, like I said before the game, he's going to give you 4 or 5 catches. He's kind of like the dump-off guy, the safety valve guy. He'll give you 4 or 5 catches every game. In a deep league or in a pinch if you're desperate, he's a fine wide receiver 3 or flex, but I don't think he's going to give you many blow-up games unless he gets you get lucky and he gets you a touchdown. So I'd rather not start him, honestly. And then I forgot to talk about Dallas Goedert yesterday. It just never crossed my mind because Dallas Goedert wasn't drafted high this year. He was basically late round or sometimes not even drafted in some leagues. But we got to bring him up. He's going to get you exactly what he got you last night, like 3 or 4 catches, 30 or 40 yards. He's probably going to get you around that every week. You're going to get lucky if you get a touchdown. So if you're in a pinch, if you waited to draft tight end, you have him as your tight end. I don't hate him. We like tight ends that are attached to good offenses. But don't expect any blow-up weeks from Dallas Goedert. So that is the fantasy recap, just a normal NFL recap of last night's game. Great game. Like always, if you have lineup questions for anything, comment on YouTube, comment on the podcast, DM me on social media. But let's get into the betting recap. So we went 4 for 7 last night on the bets. So if you tailed all 7, we had another night of profiting, just like we profited for the Thursday night game. Let's start with the bets we lost. So we had the Packers plus 3.5 as the spread. The Packers lost by 5, so we did not hit that bet. But I don't mind that bet. I would make the bet again. It was a close game like I thought it would be. And honestly, the Packers had leads multiple times in that game. The Packers could have easily pulled that game out. I don't mind the bet. Next, obviously we lost Christian Watson over on the yards. We talked about it earlier. Christian Watson did absolutely nothing. I was just completely wrong on him. That's me. That was a bad bet by me. And then the Hurts anytime touchdown score. We lost it, but we should have hit that bet. Like I mentioned earlier, we had the tush push right there. We had it on the 1 yard line, and they fumbled it away. We should have hit that bet, but it is what it is. That's betting. The bets we hit. We hit the over on the game total. I told you guys it was going to be high scoring. We hit this bet in like the third quarter, although the game did start off slow. The first quarter, there was like no scoring. I was worried for a little bit, but the scoring started quick, and it started fast, and we hit. And then we hit a couple player props. We hit over on Love's passing yards, which honestly was a close call. We had to wait till the last drive of the game to hit that, bro. There was a lot of turnovers. I think that's why the Packers didn't have a ton of passing, because Hurts had 2 fumbles and like 3 picks, I think. But we hit. All in all, we hit. We hit on Barkley's rushing yards. He absolutely destroyed the prop. He went over by like 40 yards. He destroys the Packers every time. Like, he absolutely destroys the Packers. And then we had Jacobs over the rushing yards. He also started off very, very slow. I was worried for a while, but he also destroyed this prop. I think he had 80 yards. The prop was at 64 or something, so we easily hit that. So we went 4 for 7 last night. Let's move on to the Underdog Fantasy bets. If you are new to Underdog Fantasy, if you have never used the Underdog Fantasy app, use my code CE2244. The letter C, the letter E, 2244. If you use that code, if you're a first-time user, you will get a deposit match up to $1,000. So if you put in your money, they're going to match your money in free bets, no matter what. So we only missed one bet on Underdog, and it was freaking Christian Watson. Bad call by me. Christian Watson screwed us. But we hit our other 3. We hit the Jacobs over, the Barkley over, and the Love over. So depending on how you betted, you might have profited. It depends if you mix and match or if you did a flex play. It depends, but we went 3 for 4 on Underdog last night. That is the betting recap, the Friday night Eagles-Packers recap. So, I know we have games on Sunday. I still work full-time. I still have a full-time job while recording this podcast. So, I'm going to try to get the podcast up for Sunday around 8 a.m. Pacific time on Sunday morning. I'm going to try. I work really late on Saturday night, so I'm going to have to stay up all Saturday night and early Sunday morning to get it done. But I'm going to try to get that done before 8 p.m. Pacific time. There's no promises. I'm going to try, guys. Like I said, I still work full-time while making this podcast. So run up the numbers. Once I can do this and make some money off of it, it will get better. I promise. But thanks for watching, guys. Love y'all.